A face that could launch 1,000 memes. Not that Gustave Courbet would have known what a meme was. From, "Oh no, I've left the iron on," to, "Oh no, I forgot to put the bins out," all the way to more modern, desperate situations. Courbet's man, in fact a self-portrait, displays a face showing an instant shocking revelation. But put the humour to one side and look a little deeper, and we do see someone with more than just a momentary horror. He is indeed desperate. His eyes are staring straight ahead into ours. It's a little unnerving, but we don't need the title to tell us he is in the midst of an internal struggle, a mental anguish, a moment of, well, desperation. Painting any emotion is a skill. This one is on the verge of being over the top, especially the wide open eyes with their slightly too white eyeballs. Many portraits will have one eye closer than the other, with the face on a slight angle. As humans, we tend to focus on the nearest eye, and an artist can use that to put that eye into the clearest focus, meaning with the most detail, to replicate how we see in the real world. For example, in this self-portrait by Rembrandt, the eye on the right is in focus, while the eye on the left is a little bit further away, a little less lit, a little less detailed, so our focus goes to the nearer eye. Having two eyes, both wide open and both directly staring ahead, is arresting. I imagine many people have been pulled up by that as they have come across the painting and then spent a moment or two returning that gaze. The mouth is more subtle, perhaps more skillfully done. Take away the top part of his head and the mouth still conveys something, an involuntary parting of the lips, about to say something, but what can be said? It's just too much. How have things resolved to this? What can be done? Gustave Courbet painted this from 1843 to 1845. It looks like he started it, left it, and then came back to it. Interestingly, although all the sources have the date range of 1843 to 1845, the painting itself has 2 dots and then 41. Who knows? There are times you might start a canvas and leave it for years, but his signature went on some time after he painted that shirt. Perhaps he was unhappy with the face and went back to it again and again. Courbet was a French painter who lived from 1819 to 1877. He was credited with being the leader of the 19th century realism movement, a precursor to Impressionism. He wanted to paint only what he could see, rather than use stylistic, artistic language and painterly clichés. He chose subjects of everyday life, not the grand historical or religious paintings of his time. It sounds so easy, just paint what you see. It is not easy, because we learn to see, identify and understand the world around us as a collection of objects, rather than as patterns and shapes of dark and light and colour. To paint what you think you see leads artists astray. They end up being illustrators, faithfully representing objects as we think we see them, and not as artists painting the world as it is. To paint what you actually see is a life's work of unlearning and learning anew. Something else you have probably noticed by now. A portrait is done in, well, portrait orientation. But not this one. The canvas here is in landscape orientation. His arms gather us into the centre. His dark hair and beard frame his light face. Coming in from the edges of the painting, we have concentric dark, light, dark and light. Our focus is brought in close, straight to those staring eyes and that look of horror and desperation. As far as I could tell, there is no backstory available as to what Courbet was desperate about. Perhaps he was simply trying to see if he could capture that emotion. But we do know it was one of Courbet's favourite paintings and he kept it with him. And of course, any backstory is not that relevant. Courbet gives us a human emotion, one we can recognise, but which we may have only seen looking back at us from a mirror. It's not the done thing to show such emotions. Being desperate is seen by some as a mark of failure. But everyone gets their turn at desperation, for one reason or another. And it adds to the canon of art that we have such a full-throated depiction here. Something to remind us that such moments exist for all, and better, that such moments usually pass. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please press like. If you want to be notified when I put out more reactions to great art, please subscribe. See you next time.